whichever political parties come, because they look at it as a money-making machine, that whoever takes care of this portfolio, they're least interested on the citizens' welfare or their goodness or their good living style. They would announce a number of schemes which will talk about smart cities, which will talk about good, designing.
But at the local municipal level, nothing really happens. Umeshi, what is the reason that our netas and bureaucracy, I would add, has failed to live up to the promise of smart cities, the dreams that were shown to millions of people in this country? Umeshi, if you can...
This problem actually has three dimensions.
Yeah.
This problem has three dimensions. The first dimension is, of course, apathy. They don't clean the drains properly, or you don't clean the road properly, or things like this. There is no doubt about that. And we can't blame the blamers for this because they have planned it properly, but we are unable to manage it. But this is not the only reason, and that is why every year after year you have the same problem. Even if the drains are cleaned, you still find the same problem. The second issue is of garbage disposal. What has happened is that out of 12, or I don't know what is the figure now, 12,000-13,000 tons of garbage collected every year, hardly about 9,000-10,000 reaches the, so 2,000 tons of garbage remains, and much of it you find strewn on the road. So as soon as the rain comes, this garbage goes into the drains, and you choke the drains at a time when you need the drains to be totally clean. Now this is another problem which needs to be tackled by planners. I don't dispute that.
Sure.
But there is another problem, especially in Delhi, Gurgaon and other cities. All the drainage water has to go into the Jamna. Now, when there is a heavy rain, the Jamna level also rises. And if you remember many years back, there used to be flooding every year.
Yes, sir.
And these flooding was stopped by making these huge bunds on the side of the Jamna. So what is happening is the water remains in the Jamna, it rises, and since all these drains, the stormwater drains,
sir,
etc.,
I think a lot of issues are lost
so
in the political narrative.
No, just let me.
I want to bring in callers as well. I want to bring in callers as well, sir. Umesh ji, I'll come back to you. Pradeep from Uttarakhand is also joining us. Pradeep ji, आप बताइए, उत्तराखंड में भी बाढ़ से या फिर बारिश से बहुत सारी समस्याओं का लोगों को सामना करना पड़ता है. इस बार परिस्थिति कैसी है?
हेलो,
प्रदीप जी, अपनी टेलीविजन की आवाज बंद कर दीजिए.
कैन यू हियर मी मैम?
आई कैन हियर यू प्रदीप जी.
हाँ, ये उत्तराखंड में फ्लड आ गया इस समय. मेरा ऊर्जा से सवाल है. ये तो बहुत दावे करते हैं बड़े बड़े.
जी, किस तरह की समस्याओं का सामना करना पड़ा आपको?
न पानी है, न कुछ है. गाड़ी ऐसी बह रही है. ये तो बहुत दावा कर रहे थे बड़े बड़े. प्रदीप मेरा नाम है मैम.
जी प्रदीप जी, बहुत बहुत शुक्रिया हमें कॉल करने के लिए, अपनी समस्या बताने के लिए. और बहुत सारे नेता हैं यहाँ पे जो आपकी बात सुन रहे हैं. आई ऑल्सो वॉन्ट टू ब्रिंग इन संजीव गुप्ता, हु इज कॉलिंग अस फ्रॉम दिल्ली. संजीव जी, टेल अस व्हाट यू आर फेसिंग.
Yes, ma'am, the issue is not, this is gross capital mismanagement. If you see that each house, for increase in FAR, deposits crores of rupees. Suppose you are selling a house, I buy a house, I pay the government almost 10 to 20 lakh as stamp fee. Where does that money go? No, nobody knows. Then again, if I have to build a new plot over it, I have to build a new house, I pay crores as map fee to the municipal corporation. Where does that money go? Nobody knows. If you in totality see that the plot that was allotted 20 years back for say 2 lakh or 5 lakh, it is now worth almost 4 to 5 crore. The stamp duty involved is 20 to 25 lakh.
And you know, some of the municipal bodies in our country are the richest bodies in Asia, and yet we have potholes in those cities. That's the tragedy. Venkat from Mumbai is also calling us. Venkat, what are you facing?
Hi, good evening to everybody in the panel. I wanted to disagree with what the BJP spokesperson is talking about when she's practically living in a denial mode. When once you go into a denial mode, the mistake that's been happening for ages now will never be rectified. When I have been an ardent supporter of BJP, but still I have to say this because until unless you accept your mistakes, you're not going to rectify the issues at all. And the other two issues that I feel are the causes for this problem is the municipal corporation employees who allot the water body areas to builders and other contractors for development or whatever,
right.
instead of actually utilizing it in such situations where waterlogging can happen.
I take all those feedback, all the feedback that has come in from our callers, and in that same spirit of having a constructive conversation, I go back to our political guests, Mudit Agarwal and Anuja Kapoor. And Anuja, I'm talking irrespective of the political lines. You're the elected government of the day. In the next 5 to 10 years, can we expect proactive solutions to come from the government? And can there be, perhaps an effort across party lines to have a solution in place? How to tackle this menace that we face each year after year? It continues to get worse.
First of all, I would like to say that I empathize with all the callers. It is not that we are inhuman. We really empathize with all the callers who have just spoken about it. And putting a blame on BJP because our anchor is only talking about BJP governments. Right,
because
now
you're the elected government, ma'am.
Ma'am,
because you're the elected government. We're talking about Gurugram right now. We are talking about Gurugram. Why? I asked you a policy question. All you do is shout. All you do is personal attack. All you do is political blame game. Why don't you talk about policy?
Various redevelopment projects, out of which rupees 800 crore will be spent on Iran, the job very soon. This is what we are telling you. And we also tell you that Najafgarh drain, which is coming from Delhi government, has to decongestize it because it is during a peak rainfall. This causes a lot of water solution, lot of water logging.
All right, I'm short of time. Anuja, I'm very sorry I have to interrupt you there. I thank all my guests for joining us on the broadcast. It's unfortunate that we're not able to get long-term policy solutions from our politicians. With that, it's a wrap from my side. Shivani Gupta takes it forward.
Welcome everyone. Thanks a lot for staying with us. You're watching Plain Speak with me, Shivani Gupta. A day after an unprecedented crackdown on the Popular Front of India, the radical outfit and its supporters came out with what they know best: stone pelting and destruction. If your very genesis is violence, hatred and terror, it's not very surprising that its frustrated cadre spilled onto the streets, especially in Kerala today, their base for a long time, and attacked public and private property. They even tried to force a strike down the throats of ordinary citizens as if they should care because of a crackdown on the PFI. Is this response by the PFI not a giveaway of its mindset? Are they trying to challenge the Indian agencies, the Indian state, by trying to intimidate citizens and the state machinery because of a crackdown? And are they emboldened? Because for far too long, politically and socially, such actions have been justified and even encouraged. We will take those questions to our guests in just a bit, but first up, take a look at the destruction, just mindless sheer vandalism that was seen across Kerala and many cities unleashed by the PFI. The first visual is coming in from Trivandrum, where stones were pelted at vehicles and auto rickshaw also. Imagine ordinary citizens, someone who's an auto rickshaw driver, his vehicle was damaged with the windshield completely broken and shattered. What is the point of this? Similar scenes were witnessed in Alapura. State buses were attacked, broken, left abandoned on the streets. This is just utter lawlessness. Stones were pelted again at public transport. A KSRT bus was shattered and desecrated in Pathanamthitta. These are some of those visuals that are coming to light. Destruction and wreckage also gripped Kozhikode, for example. Public transport was targeted. A truck was ransacked and smashed in the district. These are the scenes that prevailed all across Kerala and were unleashed really by the foot soldiers of the PFI, the ones who sympathize with this body. There's another visual that's coming in from Vayana. This is where tires were set on fire, placed in the middle of the streets. From Kannur, these are the scenes that emerged after the PFI raids. A car was vandalized once again, windshield smashed, abandoned on the roads. These are, of course, both public and private properties that have been attacked all through the day. But such has been the mindless vandalism by PFI workers that in Kannur, locals actually grabbed hold of one of the PFI worker and thrashed him in public. While we don't encourage this behavior, it just goes on to show how upset the public was with the PFI and its antics today. In fact, the High Court in Kerala came down heavily against the PFI protests and their sudden call for a bandh. A division bench of the Kerala High Court initiated suo motu contempt of court proceedings against PFI for calling this hartal and in violation of its 2019 order. The court further said that a prior permission is needed before a strike is called and a notice of 7 days is necessary to enable citizens who are opposed to the call for the hartal to approach the court too. The High Court also directed the state to take immediate action against violence during PFI protests and to ensure that adequate measures are put in place to prevent any damage or destruction to public property. Before we get you more on the exclusive inputs that we're tracking on the larger PFI role and the nexus that is emerging, some updates from courts today as well. Several of the accused nabbed yesterday, over 100 of them, are being produced turn by turn in courts for their remands. And here are updates from the national capital. The top leadership of the PFI was arrested yesterday. They've been remanded to 7 days ED custody. Parvez Ahmed is the Delhi president, accused of raising funds from suspicious sources and money laundering. Ilyas Ahmed, the secretary of the Delhi unit, accused of misleading probe and lying to agencies. Remember, these are some long-standing cases against them. Abdul Muqeet is a PFI office secretary. He allegedly made bonus donation slips and is accused of illegal transfer of funds as well. Meanwhile, more and more shocking revelations are coming to light after yesterday's crackdown on the PFI. Investigative agencies have told CNN News 18 that RSS leaders were very much on the target of the radical outfit. So Tehleil, which is the spy wing of the PFI, was given the specific task of tracking movement of RSS leaders. This spy wing was collecting information about their offices, families, cars, movement, how many guards they have with them, for example. The PFI, in fact, has done recce of some RSS shakhas in the past, and later security of those shakhas were beefed up as well. Even today, there were some RSS officers that were attacked, by the way, during the violence. There are also clear instructions that have been given to the spy wing that in case they find any details, they should pass on to foreign cadres or other affiliated terror groups like the Lashkar-e-Toiba. Also, the aim of the PFI was to create gap, divide between Hindu and Muslim populations, specifically by portraying a negative image of the RSS. The RSS they hate, frankly, is not unknown, but clearly they were also willing to put the lives of RSS workers at risk, and that too in connivance, allegedly, with terror groups. So the big debates that coming up today, the violence that has been unleashed today post the crackdown, is the PFI challenging the Indian state? And what are the challenges really before India and its agencies as it tries to nub this PFI menace in the bud?
So far in all across state, more than 400 persons have been put under preventive arrest, and more than 500 persons have been arrested. And these arrests will continue throughout the day. No serious act of violence has taken place. All minor acts of stone pelting and obstructing the roads have taken place, which we have dealt with very, very sternly.
देश की आंतरिक सुरक्षा एवं देश के नागरिकों की सुरक्षा बहुत महत्वपूर्ण है और ये एक सराहनीय कदम है। कानून स्वतंत्र रूप से अपना काम कर रहा है और देश की 11 प्रदेशों की और केंद्र की सरकार ने संयुक्त रूप से ये कार्रवाई की है।
उनका जुर्म क्या है? एक पार्टी है, वो एक संस्था चला रहे हैं और एक प्रोग्राम है उनका, जैसा और पार्टियां अपने प्रोग्राम चलाती हैं। तो उनका जुर्म क्या है कि क्यों गिरफ्तार किए जा रहे हैं?
सारे देश में पीछे जो आतंकी और हिंसक घटनाएं हुई, तन से सर जुदा की, शुक्रवार को पत्थरवार में बदलने की, तो सरकारों के पास प्रमाण है कि पीएफआई के लोग इसमें इन्वॉल्व हैं।
Communalism goes to the root of the democracy, heart of democracy. We can't save democracy if this is how the government is going to act in a mellify manner. Only the opposition will be targeted.
Let's go across to the guest joining us. Jitendra Ojha is a geopolitical expert, formerly with the Government of India. Advocate Shafruddin Ahmed is joining us. He's from the SDPI. It's their vice president. Tariq Fateh is noted author and columnist. Tushar Gupta, senior editor, Swaraj magazine. And Lakshmi Narayan is former DIG Uttar Pradesh joining us. Mr. Ahmed, I'm coming to you first up. The SDPI cadre also today, and just generally speaking, along with its affiliate, the PFI, has been accused of very violent activity. Some of your workers have been arrested and convicted in the past. But I want to begin by asking you, what kind of a response is this? Coming out and pelting stones on public and private property, forcing a bandh down the public's throat. Why? This is not legal, and the Kerala High Court was very categorical in saying so in the state of Kerala.
Ma'am, the entire country knows that whenever the demonstration or protest is organized by SDPI, it never turns to be violent. Even the protest during the days of the huge protest, no SDPI protest ever turned violent. So any protest that is organized by the SDPI with its cadre always respect the law, because SDPI is the largest movement on the streets, having say on every issue in the country, and no complaint has ever been made by the police.
No, today we got reports, Mr. Ahmed, that in the violence that broke out in Kerala, there were members of your party too.
Okay, that report is a part of the narrative, popular narrative being supported to the dictatorial and draconian actions. That is why SDPI is being
by the Kerala government
and implicated.
These are reports coming in from Kerala.
I want to know anybody whether any protest of the SDPI organized and conducted by SDPI has ever been turned into violence, ever since the day of the SDPI.
Sir, I'm asking you a direct question. No, were your members not part of these protests and this so-called hartal today in Kerala? Were they not part of this?
You see, it is a protest by the public, because all the leadership of PFI has been arrested.
Please don't shoot off the shoulders of the public. The public is not interested.
It is not you. It is the persons. They are taking part. And
no. So who are those persons? No, sir, I'm sorry. You cannot evade the question like this. You are saying none of your protests ever turned violent. Were your workers part of the protest today or not?
I am also sorry for your
Why are you running off from the question? Don't put it on the public.
Your narrative is very negative.
I am asking you a simple question. इसमें narrative की कोई बात ही नहीं है, Ahmed ji.
It is. Whatever is happening at the streets is the public reaction.
No, this is not the public.
Generated engineered.
No, the public is not doing it.
How do you know that these SDPI has not given any call?
No, I'm asking you, were your workers involved or not? Because you are protesting PFI crackdown, right? Were your workers part of these protests or not?
So, madam, SDPI workers are never indulged in any violence.
Were they part of today's protests and hartal and dharna in Kerala? Sir, I am asking you a simple question. Are you part of these protests or not? Are you protesting PFI crackdown or not?
SDPI always conduct a protest peaceful and legal.
But these protests were not peaceful and legal today. Sir, आप मेरे सवाल का जवाब नहीं दे रहे हो. आज जो केरला में प्रोटेस्ट हुए, उसका आप हिस्सा थे या नहीं थे? हमारी रिपोर्ट्स के हिसाब से एसडीपीआई के वर्कर्स को भी पुलिस ने एप्रीहेंड किया है, डिटेन किया है, बहुतों को देखा है वहां पे. Why are you not answering my question?
एसडीपीआई का वर्कर्स भी लार्जर एसडीपीआई का वर्कर भी एक लार्जर सोसाइटी का हिस्सा है.
नहीं तो सर वो बात अलग हो गई ना. आप नहीं, okay, then you've accepted that SDPI workers were part of these protests. These protests went out of hand. Tushar Gupta, now let me enlist what all happened in the name of these protests. There were petrol bombs.
You please listen to me.
No, sir, I've given you enough opportunity. I'll give you 30 seconds more.
Ashban Shinde has filed an affidavit that RSS is indulged in deceptive activities, so it is not part of the RSS. It has been brought to the record that RSS has sent him to blast the bomb, to take the part in the deceptive activities. So
I'm sorry, you may try to divert it to some affidavit on some charge. I asked you a very simple question. Were your members part of the hartal and the protest today? You are making it sound like your workers are some ordinary citizens. I am sorry to say, if they are affiliated to you, they have vested interests and vested parties in this. Please don't use the name of the ordinary public. But let me go to my other guest, sir. Let me go to my other guest. I'll come back to you. Sir, I'll come back to you. Tushar Gupta. This is brilliant. You come out on the streets, you force a strike, you destroy public and private property, you attack shopkeepers, you hurl petrol bombs, stone pelt, and then you say, oh, this is all public anger.
You know, Shivani, the PFI and the SDPI are as much peaceful as the Taliban is feminist, as the CCP is democratic. You know, SDPI was not just involved in today's protest. The spokesperson here of the SDPI says that whatever protest they have always engaged in has been a peaceful protest. Let me remind him, it was the SDPI spokesperson who said during the farmers' protest that if anything happens to the farmers, the entire country will burn. It was the SDPI which was also behind, along with the PFI, behind the burning of the Bangalore MLA Dalit house, which instigated riots. It was also the SDPI vice president who once said that I do not find Taliban as a vulgar word. In fact, it's a struggle. So when today the SDPI sits here and say that we're always engaged in peaceful protests, I cannot help but call out his bogus argument. And you know, Shivani, this is going to happen now. As the crackdown intensifies across the country, not 100 leaders, not 500, they'll come up and put up a political front because they already have a financial front to sponsor all their criminal activities. Now they'll put up a political front that, oh, the PFI is fighting the anti-Muslim sentiment in India. Oh, we are all for peace. So they want people to be engaged in proving the activities of PFI and their affiliate organizations while they go on committing all these protests, while they go on hurling petrol bombs. Tell me one instance where the PFI or the SDPI has not been in the news for the wrong reasons. You look at Bihar, you look at hijab protests, CAA, farmer protests, Bangalore riots, anything you look at, the PFI and the SDPI have been there. And today they have the audacity to come on national television and say that we are engaged in peaceful protests alone. I'm sorry, but this is their way of putting up a political front, of distracting their attention away from the crackdown that is now hitting them.
Yeah. You know, the fact that the SDPI and the PFI...
is democratically held, it is...
Yes, sir, go ahead.
What kind of a democratic protest? What kind of a democratic protest has petrol bombs?
It is democratic.
What kind of a democratic protest has petrol bombs?
SDPI has not...
what kind of a democratic protest?
No funding has been given by any court.
What kind of a democratic protest forces people to shut shop?
No violence, no funding by any court. It is a political narrative, no funding by any court. It is only allegation. No funding by any court has been given.
What are people saying on television then? What is the Kerala government saying? Kerala does not have a BJP government. Kerala does not have a BJP government. Why are they against the protest then?
Kerala government is also run by a political party, and SDPI is a big force, formidable force against that party.
Why are they against your protest? Where are the petrol bombs coming from? Where are the petrol bombs coming from?
Can I just mention, Mr. Ahmed was saying that no court has ever said anything against us. Several of your members, sir, 1 second, please just hold on now. Several of your members have been convicted in the past along with PFI members in cases of weapons training and arms training. And there was the case, of course, in Kerala as well. There are other cases where your members are charge sheeted, including rioting cases. So please don't wash it off. There is much to explain, but let me also quote to you what the Kerala High Court only said in May 2022. No doubt, SDPI and PFI are extremist organizations indulging in serious acts of violence. All the same, those are not banned organizations. Your defense has only been that you are not banned.
You are enlarging the agenda, not for the arms training. It was only for the unlawful assembly, not for the unlawful arms training. You are enlarging the agenda.
No, there is a case.
Misleading.
No, 1 second. There is a case. We'll run it. Don't worry. There's a case where there was allegations where both PFI and SDPI workers were implicated, and that case was about illegal arms and training and weapons training.
No,
but I want to go across. 1 second, please. Just hold on. Lakshmi Narayan, I want to go across to our other guests as well. Sir, just please be patient. Lakshmi Narayan, one of the questions that does come to mind that is raised is, how do organizations like the PFI become so big and then we crack down upon them? Is that not a fair question to ask? How did the PFI, the likes of the SDPI, which is registered with the Election Commission, mind you, but that's a separate matter, but how do the PFI and its cadre become so emboldened that a day after a crackdown, their cadres actually come out on the streets and conduct violence and vandalism?
Well, Shivani ji, in fact, it is an old wine in a new bottle. When Simi was banned, PFI was strengthened. Their targets are very clear: raising funds and then terror funding, link with the terror groups, recruitment, target killing, and igniting riots. In fact, you see, when the tomb of a terrorist is decorated in India, when thousands of people participate in the funeral procession of a terrorist, do you think that it is a matter of just an organization, or it is a matter of a community? That makes the basic question in it. In fact, the PFI's violence today was, of course, called by the PFI, but certain people who have their own ideology that mingles with the PFI, they also participated in it. All of them, I cannot say that they were just PFI workers only. They are the supporters of PFI and such organizations as SDPI and etc. All that you can say it. So we have to look into a wider matter, that why all these youths are coming to the terrorist force and what is to be done to prevent them to do this. This is the moot question.
And what do you think, sir? What is to be done?
It is correct that lynching people are not only the members of the political party. They have got the mindset. They have been indoctrinated for the violence. That is why people are lynched in daylight, and they are not in any time tried, and they are not punished.
Mr. Ahmed, can I ask you a direct question? Are you sitting here in support of PFI today? Are you sitting here defending the PFI?
I don't support.
You're aware of all that they've been implicated with?
I am from the SDPI. I am from the SDPI. I don't belong to PFI. And any question connecting to SDPI is misread, then I have to put the.
But you are very much associated with the PFI, right? You are not denying that. Are you supporting them?
I have never been associated. I have never been associated. Never been a member throughout life. I have been in CPI.
I am not asking about you, sir. But your body, the SDPI, is very much an offshoot of the PFI. Is very much a sister organization of the PFI.
The majority of the members do not belong to PFI.
That doesn't matter, sir.
SDPI, as the case, that is the matter. Hindu Mahasabha has never been part of RSS, but has ever been taking the same agenda.
So that what? Are you saying the SDPI and the PFI also are like Hindu Mahasabha and RSS then? Why are you going to RSS again and again? Are you not connected to the PFI?
Yes, maybe in certain issues, but not like BJP and RSS. BJP is controlled by RSS. SDPI is not controlled by PFI.
How is that a defense for you and the PFI?
Because you put the question, PFI is nowhere here. They all has been sent to jail, and you have called me to
yeah, so I'm asking you, are you defending the PFI today? Is that your position? By making analogies with the RSS, etc., what are you trying to do?
Yes. Let me say, my position is that allegations have been made against the PFI, and the court is to decide whether PFI is has been an accused or not. After the finding of the court, it will be decided whether PFI has committed, because till now, no findings have ever been given by any court in India against the PFI.
That's
Even
not true. PFI workers have been convicted of hacking TJ Joseph's hand.
Let me say, even in that finding, which is hand-chopping case, the court said organization was not involved, it was individual act. And
yeah, but that was 2010. Your organization has grown and clearly walked miles since then. I want to go across to our other guests. I want to go across to Jitendra Ojha and Tariq Fatah. Jitendra Ojha, I want to come to you to understand the larger nexus and the threat that India faces. Surely a crackdown and a ban will never suffice. But what do you think of the larger challenge that India is facing? Because interestingly, this challenge is not just within of homegrown terror from SIMI to PFI, but we're seeing strands of this anti-India forces coming together across the globe now.
Yes. Shivani ji, I'm not a political activist, and I've been a practitioner of national security, and I can very proudly say some of the finest security professionals are my former students. So I request you to give me 2 minutes of uninterrupted audience and I will explain the whole thing. Look, in democracies, sometimes protests can go disorderly, but this is not that. PFI is a terrorist organization, full stop. There is no confusion at all. This is an organized warfare, organized covered warfare. What they're doing, they are taking advantage of emotive identity in Islam, number one. Number two, certain violent ways of upbringing. Mr. Tariq Fateh will explain it in a different way. Medieval barbaric, which has intimidated large sections of people. They're taking advantage of it. Thirdly, organized crime. This kind of organization, you have said, you pointed it out, how they have been involved in money laundering and a shade of things. And this gentleman who's coming, if Government of India gives me an opportunity, I'm sure some of my bright students will establish in a matter of days that he is acting as a kind of proxy to rationalize it, because PFI has managed to recruit a lot of people in civil society, in media, in political parties, infiltrated. Some of them are paid collaborators, some of them are ideologically motivated collaborators, and they justify this thing. What is their objective? They want to set up an Islamist kind of state. And even if Islamic state is not possible, they want to run a parallel system. And they're taking advantage of our political system, political class, for sake of mobilization or whatever reason. They have to fall back upon these people. They have to quote these people. They provide muscle power. Sometimes they fall back upon it. And we are also very careful that we do not offend our Muslims, our Muslim population. But let me tell you, they do not represent genuine Muslims of India. Good number of them who have worked as my colleagues, my friends, my students. So they are a kind of organized criminals, a tool of covert warfare against India, and our systems are not in a position to fight this kind of warfare. So I'll request you not to give your platform to these terror apologists and terror propagandists who are abusing your platform to carry out this kind of propaganda. A terrorist, first time, it exploits the loopholes of the systems, launders money, indulges in drug crime, indulges in all kinds of things. And they recruit people like this gentleman, whosoever he is, to come to your TV channel and rationalize their things and hoodwink people and emotionally exploit them. I complete, Shivani ji. Thank you for this opportunity.
We are all waiting for an official ban on the organization called PFI. The SDPI continues to be a registered political party in India. So if there are grave concerns, as you're very well raising, we hope that the agencies are going to take action. It's not just enough to socially ostracize them, but they are ultimately registered with the Election Commission. Tariq Fateh, I come to you on the point. 1 second, sir. Tariq Fateh, I come to the point that Mr. Ojha is raising. This is organized warfare. It wants to basically supersede democracies and all non-Islamic systems with political Islam. They use barbaric, Talibanized form of Islam, and that's what they're propagating in the garb of suppression of Muslims and Muslim identity. How do you see this? Because we're seeing what's happening even in Leicester, for example. All sound the same.
They all the same, but our system allows them to state emphatic lies and deny everything. And unfortunately, most of the rest of the world is gullible enough to succumb to this threat that we will call you a racist or an Islamophobe. So you will notice that even observation of 9/11 anniversaries are subdued because everyone is scared. What will this Muslim group, which aspect of a Muslim community is radicalized who are the victims from within the Muslim community that are radicalized by Jamaat Islami types, or this is clearly Muslim Brotherhood tactics learned from the Communist Party and implemented over there. They've learned a lot from the association with the CPI as well over the long years. But nobody should forget the Mopla rebellion.
Yes.
Nobody should ever forget that while we are looking elsewhere, the most radical aspects of Jihadi Islam were in the Malabar coast. We might think that, oh, the Kashmiri radicals are doing this or that, or something happened in Bangladesh. We seem to forget where the connections are. The large part of the Kerala population that now works in the Persian Gulf areas. A lot of them associate their identities with Arabized, Wahhabi Islam that are in contradiction to what is Indian Islam, but yet that has infused because of the money that comes in from remittances or some underground organizations. I've lived 10 years in Saudi Arabia, and when I've met someone from Kerala over there, I've asked about Ashita Menon or Namboodiripad, and they give me a blank stare. This was the first time I met someone from Kerala, and they were more into the pan-Islamist thing, and they were quite shocked that I was enthusiastic to learn about Namboodiripad as to what was his contribution. I was just fascinated that Kerala had a 95% literacy rate. However, the Islamic identity today overshadows, and when I say Islamic identity, I mean the Islamic identity of the Indian subcontinent, the Indian, Pakistani, Bangladeshi. You won't find Iranians in this. They are burning hijabs. You go to Karnataka and they want hijabs. Yeah. You go to Saudi Arabia, MBS is opening up employment to women. Women can drive cars. You go to Egypt, you go to Turkey, you go Iran, there's a revolution going on against the mullahs. But when you come to this narrow part of radical Islam under, I don't know why they call themselves the SDPI, there's nothing social democratic about them, but it's a political party as a front to give them legitimacy.
Yes.
PFI would be, this is so typical of the Muslim Brotherhood. It's almost as if they used that formula and applied it to the Kerala state. Okay, this is how we'll do it.
Mr. Fateh, do you believe that with this crackdown, the Indian government has finally woken up, and will it see it to its logical conclusion? Will a ban suffice, or do we need to do more?
I hope so, because this is an ideological fight in which Indian Muslims should be empowered to take on these radicals. There are almost every Muslim that I know or converse with is fed up with the Deoband and the mullahs and the people who want jihad in or niqab or hijab or whatever the Carnatic case is now with the Supreme Court. Unless and until sensible Indian Muslims like the governor of Kerala, like the many men and women who come on your shows and talk about being Indian before they are anything else. Unless we take the route of Mr. Ambedkar and believe in as our identity as the Indian Constitution and not look for loopholes in the Indian Constitution to create separatism.
Yes.
That's the problem. The majority community has been generous enough to have out of the first 5 education ministers, 4 were Muslim. It would never happen in an Islamic country. Why don't these people realize that you will never have a Hindu as a Pakistani president or a Bangladeshi president or Afghanistan? They've eliminated everyone. India is the only place where, in the developing world, where Muslims can vote.
And yet, India is maligned so much on the global stage as oppressing Indian Muslims who flourished in India. But you are right about exploiting, what the Indian Constitution gives. And that's where radical organizations like the PFI come in. They will continue to broaden this wedge. They'll never be satisfied with anything. Today it is hijab, tomorrow it will be burqa also.
India has to make its case like Al Jazeera has made it for Qatar. India has tremendous wealth of journalists, but none of them are on the international scene. I mean, How can Qatar have Al Jazeera and we can only suffice with Republic TV or your channel or have debates? We are not getting across to the rest of the world. India is one country. The Islamic countries are 54. Your truth is one. At United Nations Human Rights Council, the Islamic dictatorships and horrible leaders are 54.
Right. I understand what you're saying. Let me just give a final 30 seconds to Tushar Gupta as well. Tushar, this is a challenge that we've only just begun to kind of come to terms with, but it's not a new challenge. We've been facing this from early 1990s, at least, outside of Kashmir.
Absolutely. See, what the PFI wants to essentially do is to create a narrative where a separate, perhaps, nation for Muslims can be propagated. That is what the Bihar plan was, which surfaced a few days ago. The problem now is that the moderate Muslims in India are not speaking up. They need to speak up. This is pretty much evident now that the PFI wants to divide the nation on the basis of religion, based on a false premise, on a fictitious narrative. The moderate Muslims need to speak up now for their own good, because the PFI is not in war against the BJP. It's in the war against the Indian state, which also includes the Indian Muslims.
Right.
You do not want to end up like the Afghanistan population has ended up with Taliban. That is my concern.
Is the ultimate goal what has happened in Afghanistan, and the ultimate goal basically to bring that Talibanized version of Islam in India? That's really the reality we need to wake up to. Today it may sound a little liberal and backing minorities and other, socially backward classes. But what is the end game? The end game here is very much like, as Tariq Fatah said, this is all the Muslim Brotherhood design that is playing out. I do thank all of our guests for joining us, Mr. Tariq Fatah and Mr. Oja, Tushar Gupta, and even Mr. Rahman for joining us, and we'll continue to, of course, track this story very, very closely. Ahead of the Karnataka elections, campaign wars between Congress and BJP are getting more and more bitter. The controversy started on September 21 when posters captioned "Pay CM" with Karnataka Chief Minister Basavaraj Bommai's photograph were pasted in parts of Bengaluru by Congress. Resembling the design of e-wallet Paytm, the posters figured Bommai's face in the middle of the QR code with the message 40% accepted here as a jibe against alleged corruption. BJP supporters have now released mock posters which abbreviate Pay CM as Pay to Congress Madam, referring to Sonia Gandhi on social media. BJP is also targeting the Congress for attacking Bommai because he's a Lingayat, saying the community will make the Congress pay for it. Congress, though, is also upping the ante with their senior leaders pasting more of the Pay CM posters across town today. Having said that, there was also major embarrassment for the Congress as Bengaluru-based actor Akhil Iyer flagged the use of his photo for a Congress poster, accusing the party of using it without his consent. Taking it to Twitter, the actor called out the use of his image illegal and threatened legal action against the party. He further tagged Congress leaders Rahul Gandhi and Siddaramaiah in the post, urging them to look into the matter. How long will this corruption campaign or the Karnataka continue? And who is it hurting more? We will take that to our guests in just a bit. But first up, listening to the leaders of the two parties.
The minister itself had announced that what money has to be paid to whom. MLCs had been said, legislators have said, and the contractor have said that. We have put it in a format for more information.
No, they have not given a iota of even small document or proof. It's all politically motivated, malicious things, and ultimately I have challenged them to come out with the proofs.
Let's go across to our guest joining us. Captain Ganesh Karnik is from the BJP. Nagaraju Yadav is from the Karnataka Congress Party. Nagaraju, let me start with you. The Chief Minister today has come out and said, why don't you show some proof? On top of that, they've also launched this counter campaign to your Pay CM campaign, which is Pay to Congress Madam. How do you respond?
Let me say good evening to all the panelists and you, madam. The basic idea of doing this is very, very clear. It is not today what we have raised an issue of corruption against the BJP government. You know, your own channel and many national channels have telecasted, and the people have come forward on the TV cameras and said that this government is demanding for 40% commission for clearing the bills in the corporation and in the contract and in the contracts order. where the Karnataka State Contractor Association, Mr. Kempenna, who came and along with his team came and gave a complaint to the Prime Minister, came and gave a complaint to the Chief Minister, gave a complaint to the all concerned media, everybody. The issue was brought up to the public domain. When the complaint was given, it was duty of the Chief Minister or the Prime Minister to hand over the matter for an investigation. Only the investigation or officer can demand for the document. The complaint against the Chief Minister and his cabinet colleagues. And how can they give you documents of proof what is going on? Accused people are asking for documents. Is it fair enough? We are demanding, when the complaint is come forward, if you are clean, why didn't you ask the High Court judge to come forward and investigate this matter by sitting judge? If they are not got involved into any corruption, let them come clean. We'll appreciate that. And we are saying that the accusation against the government and the government ministers and the entire system of the Karnataka state today. When that is the case, how the same people are asking for documents? So it is coming day by day, the accusations are becoming more, whether it's PSA scam, whether it is a recruitment scam, whether it's capital sales scam, number of scams are coming every day. And now, not one minister, number of ministers are getting tackled with this. So as a campaign, our social media people, boys, B.R. Naidu and other people happened to make one poster of putting Chief Minister's photo on a QR code. That is nothing but symbolic of his government.
Okay, let him respond to that. Let Mr. Karnik respond to that. You know, this counter campaign of pay to Congress, madam, how does that explain the corruption charges that people have made against your government? That's just whataboutery, isn't it?
Okay, good evening to you and to Mr. Nagaraj. Who is speaking? A party supremo who is out on bail, party's former national president out on bail, state party president out on bail, and just a couple of days ago he has been summoned by ED. What about Malaprabha scam? What about the scam of mining? What about the Arkavati scam? Now scamsters are talking about corruption. This is highlight. I would like to only say, you can't stoop down to this level of, as election is fast approaching, they're in the opposition, they need to do some theatrics, they need to do some dramabazi. That is what they're doing. Otherwise, like Honorable Chief Minister on the floor of the House today, he has said, if you have an iota of please give it, we submit, I will take up the serious investigation. And on him, they're charging. Now, they're talking as if the corruption has started in Karnataka only under the BJP regime.
No, but sir,
corruption,
that is not the case. Mr. Karnik, one second, let me just come in. It may not have started with the BJP term, but what about the allegations that have surfaced even by some of your own leaders? Who's going to act on that?
Politically, there have been allegations all throughout, I agree with you. But recently, one of our ministers was made to resign after investigation because somebody had committed suicide, saying the same example of 40% commission. And after investigation, he has come clean of it. So whenever there is some serious allegation, they need to have some substantive evidence. Nothing is there. They've been talking day in and day out, talking by people who are involved in corruption, who are being investigated, who are out on bail. And today, to cover up their issues, they have taken up this 40% onto the streets. It is just theatrics and nothing else.
Theatrics.
On the last day of the session, they wanted to create a scene and they have done it today.
Mr. Nagaraj.
Nothing else.
Yeah, let me come out with every point can be answered. Now the issue has come is that these are the people who are involved with the mining scam. These are the people involved with the accused people are talking about. May I ask you what is the stand of Mr. Yediyurappa, where he is not facing the charges even today? I'm asking you very, very clearly, why did Ishwarappa resign when he was not involved in a corruption in a Santosh Patil's case? Why have they not taken him back to the ministry? Let me complete, Ganesh, let me complete it. What I'm trying to tell you is very, very clear. I want to ask you, why did Janardhan go to jail? He was below Congress?
Mr. Nagaraj,
BJP leader to mining case, jail.
See,
let me tell
there
you.
was a charge made by somebody who committed suicide. Obviously, no, you never complete, Mr. Nagaraj, I know. Let me answer this.
I have due respect for you. I have due respect for you. Please wait. Okay.
Thank you very much.
Because Mr. Ganesh is a very nice gentleman, he's a friend of mine. Let us have a very good debate. Now
Yes,
I am asking
please.
you, how did the matter of 40% came out to the picture? Mr. Kempanna is not a Congress member. He is an association president of Contractors Association president of Karnataka State. Then BBMP has got Contractor Association. All association office bearers have come, contractor association have come in front of the cameras, that too in front of national cameras, and said that we are ready to face any consequences if we have given a complaint, a false complaint. Why have we not registered a complaint by the
Okay, let him
leaders who
respond
given a
now.
complaint? You could have registered. If you registered an FIR and taken for an investigation, why this should have come to Congress hands?
Let them go and lodge it. Let's see if they can come and talk openly in front of camera. Why have not they gone to the police station and registered a complaint? They can do it as
when
well.
the complaint, let me tell you, when the complaint,
somebody else to do it
Mr.
so
Ganesh,
moto.
when the complaint is lodged, when a complaint is brought to the notice of a Prime Minister's office and to the Home Minister's office of the state and Home Minister of the country and to the Chief Minister of the country, Chief Minister had a meeting with the entire contractors and he said that he will look into the matter. Till today, why he has not transferred the matter to Lokaayukta?
Okay, can I come in now? Can I come in now? Mr. Karnik, I have only a final minute left. The question I want to ask you is, you're the government in power. Whatever the allegations against senior Congress leaders may be, they're facing investigations for that. Whatever the allegations against the Gandhis may be, they're facing probes on that. You are currently in government in the state. Elections are coming up. The corruption charge hits you more than just, just transferring it to the Congress party.
Yes. See, there is an allegation. I agree. And they've made a theatrics out of it today. That also I agree. But where is the formal complaint? Let them go and complain about this 40%. Not one single person has gone to the police station and lodged a complaint. They have made references. They have made references here and there. And today, for political reasons, they want to take it to streets, just to malign. See, whenever BJP has come to power, the Congress in Karnataka cannot tolerate it. They did the same thing with Mr. Virendra Patil. They did the same thing with Mr. Yediyurappa. He took the name of Mr. Yediyurappa. He has been absolved of all the cases except one, for which even today he got stay from the Supreme Court. And these false allegations and trying to malign the party is their character. They don't want people from a particular community to continue as chief ministers. This is the real scene. And their own party president in the state is in dire straits. He's into a lot of problems. So to cover up all these things, now, Goebbels' principle, they're trying to do that. But
okay, 1 second.
There is no substance in it and it won't be substantiated.
Okay, yes.
So our honorable chief minister is very clear.
But Mr. Yadav, the issue is not whether you have proof or not. Mr. Karnik is raising a point that why are you not going and registering a probe? Or registering a complaint.
Let me tell you one thing.
In many cases against Congress leaders, there are private individuals who have worked through the years to bring proof against them.
This is standard shoot and scoot policy of Siddaramaiah. He just makes a remark and then scoots. This is exactly what he does all throughout.
Let me speak. Now, Mr. Santosh Patil's death note very, very clear. There was a 40% commission allegation was made and the FIR was filed. And before the investigation could start, the leaders of the House and the Home Minister and the Chief Minister said that Yediyurappa is not involved. That was a statement made by the Chief Minister. Is it fair? And it comes out saying that he is not involved.
I have 30 seconds left, so I'll give Mr. Karnik an opportunity to respond to that. You are in power, you are scuttling probes against your own. And no, one second, sir. And the added question that I have on top of that is, your government faces the image of a 40% cut commission government. How are you going to counter that? That image is not going anywhere, sir.
No,
Mr.
Karnik. First of all, it is a false allegation, number one. Number two, since he mentioned about Santosh sad suicide and the note, he resigned, Honorable Minister resigned, investigation was done, he has come out clean. And then he is talking of it again.
Understand that he didn't resign voluntarily.
No, whatever it is. Whatever it is. But he came out clean initially.
When in a PSA scam, why the ADGP is arrested today? Tell me. Is it not a government scam? Didn't the Home Minister of the State come to the floor and say that there no scam has happened?
No,
then why the ADGP is arrested? Why the revenue DC is arrested?
Please let him finish.
No, government has taken action on the so-called PSI scam, and the very senior people, for the first time in the history of the entire country, possibly,
That is why the
they are
government is
behind bars.
involved in this. That is a prima facie. It proves the government is
Yes.
involved in the recruitment scam.
Now you can say government is involved. Investigation is on. People involved who have been arrested.
Corruption continues to be the biggest issue possibly in the run-up of the elections, and clearly both parties are mounting their campaigns on that. We'll have to wait and see exactly with whom this sticks more and who suffers more because of these allegations. I do thank our guests for joining us. Slipping into a very short break. Remember, on the other side, we'll continue to get you the day's biggest update.
From the central government as well. But yes, they should have anticipated and had actionable intelligence to ensure that life is normal. We have disturbing scenes of bus drivers flying government buses, putting on helmets in anticipation of the fact that perhaps they may be attacked and they may be subjected to brick batting. Now, perhaps the police know what anti-riot gear is and what anti-riot drill is. Once the police also, I give you a second corollary to what the police, if the police want, there shall be no wanton destruction of property, and there cannot be anybody taking law in his own hands. Make it very clear. Let this be very clear. Kerala is a very professional police force, and once this has happened, I'm sure there'll be no replication. And those who have been identified in the video and the CCTV cameras must be booked tonight, not tomorrow. Tonight itself, picked up and then sent to jail and given a lesson of a lifetime.
Over 100 people have been rounded up across the state, allegedly belonging to the PFI. But you know, the thing that I find absolutely astounding is, why are you targeting public transport vehicles? What is the fault of these public transport drivers that they have to wear helmets and drive the buses for fear of being pelted with stones? It's not like they came and arrested the PFI leaders. But be that as it may, let me ask Ghanshyam Tiwari. What is critical here, Ghanshyam Tiwari, is there is an explicit Kerala High Court order in 2019 which has banned flash hartals. In fact, that order goes on to say that if anyone wants to call out a hartal, they have to give 7 days notice. What the PFI has done today is basically cock a snook at that judgment. Surely the PFI is not above the law of this land.
Good evening, Zaka, to you, the viewers, and my fellow co-panelists. The law of the land and the way the government sees the law of the land is visible in the kind of hate architecture that BJP has put in India. Where a PFI becomes the news item, they have the ability to create this destruction of property, take law in their own hands, and the Home Minister is missing. Where is the Home Minister of India? What is he doing? Is he stopping PFI, which is apparently, as per BJP, across the country? No. He is further building the hate architecture in Bihar. The Supreme Court is talking about the role of media that participates in the hate architecture sponsored by BJP and this government. When you have the national government working to build hate architecture, when you have international agencies talking about how the over 55% of anti-Muslim hate tweets on internet came from India, and definitely BJP is a major participant, BJP supporting media is a major participant, then you don't know which is the end where you will start solving the problem. We can discuss the problem, but neither you nor the respective Vikram Singh knows that which is the right end of the problem. I believe the right end of the problem is Home Minister of India. He has to decide whether it is he is participating as Hate Minister of India or he is participating as a Home Minister of India, whose responsibility is communal harmony is maintained. Organizations that are against communal harmony, whether it is BJP and RSS based organizations or whether it is PFI, those organizations are checked, and the federal government is not playing against the state government for petty politics to engineer such organizations. The last but not the least, you have Mr. Siddaramaiah, former Chief Minister of Karnataka, going on record and saying that BJP is supporting PFI and SDPI and such organizations to divide society. So if BJP is at the core of the hate architecture in India and Home Minister is unsure whether it is his Home Minister or hate Minister, then we will continue to have discussions, but they will not be meaningful.
Since yesterday, I've been hearing this argument. Many are calling this equivalence. Many are calling this false equivalence, that you can't just go after violence on one side. Yes, the PFI indulged in violence. No one should, in their right mind, condone that. But equally, at the same time, there's violence from the Hindu side as well. Yati Narsingh Anand, for example, is still roaming scot-free. What about hate speech that comes from the Hindu side? How come there isn't action, or at least timely action, that is taken against that?
Destruction, vandalism, anarchy. A day after the biggest crackdown on Popular Front of India, its members went on a rampage in Kerala and Tamil Nadu. The PFI had called a bandh to protest against the midnight raids and arrest of its key leaders by central agencies. But PFI members used their hartal call as an excuse to go on a vandalism spree. State-owned buses and auto rickshaws were pelted with stones.
Inside this bus, we can see that there are fragments of glass that is there all over. There are big stones that are inside this. So this is a condition in most of the vehicles where buses have been damaged like this.
Tires were burnt and even private vehicles were not spared.
That the hartal supporters, they took away the key and blocked the road. Now the police have gave a direct connection, and now they have started this truck. So the technique was to just to block the truck and take away the key.
PFI workers were even caught on camera hurling petrol bombs at the offices of the RSS and the BJP. In some places,
Thanks a lot for staying with us. Let's get you a quick check of the day's biggest updates. A big win for Uddhav Thackeray faction. The Bombay High Court has rejected the plea by Maharashtra CM Eknath Shinde to hold Dussehra rally at Mumbai's Shivaji Park. Instead, the court approved the application of Uddhav Thackeray faction to mark the festival at the said area. On Thursday, the BMC had denied permission to both Uddhav and Shinde faction for holding this rally at Shivaji Park. Karnataka government's push for Kannadigas has begun to take shape in the form of a new bill. The state government tabled the Kannada Language Comprehensive Development Bill 2022 in the Legislative Assembly. The aim is to provide reservation to Kannadigas in higher education, link incentives to industries, amongst other measures aimed at giving primacy to the language. Andhra Pradesh Assembly has cleared a bill to rename NTR Health University as YSR Health University. Now, N.T. Rama Rao's grandson and actor Junior NTR reacted to the university renaming. He said merely changing the name of an institution doesn't lower the stature of an individual, and that renaming the university will not erase NTR's fame and contribution. Latest in the Congress president poll saga, all eyes are on the tussle between Ashok Gehlot and Sachin Pilot too. Sachin Pilot is in Delhi today. Sources said he'll be meeting the top brass of the party to discuss him possibly replacing Gehlot as Chief Minister of Rajasthan. Remember, Gehlot, who had declared his intention to continue as the Chief Minister even if he was to be elected as Congress Chief, backed down after Rahul Gandhi publicly stated that the new party chief would have to follow the one-man, one-post principle. Life was thrown out of gear as heavy rains lashed Delhi NCR. Traffic snarls were witnessed on the water-covered Delhi-Gurugram Expressway. Indian Met Department cautioned people to be alert after issuing a yellow warning for Friday with a forecast of moderate rains.
This is the condition of one of the most prime localities in Gurugram, and this is after 2 days of heavy downpour. You can see this entire lane has been waterlogged and people are actually witnessing heavy traffic on these very lanes. This is the Sector 47 road in Gurugram, and what the people are saying is that this waterlogging is only increasing with every passing moment.
Catering to the ambition of becoming the backbone of India's Air Force, indigenous fighter aircraft Tejas Mark 1 has been deputed at the Sulur Air Base. With its high agility, this pilot-friendly aircraft can fly up to 50,000 feet. Some news from across the world. 4 areas of Ukraine controlled by Russia and pro-Moscow forces are all set to hold referendums over joining Russia amidst the ongoing military conflict. The provinces Luhansk, Donetsk, Kherson and Zaporizhia are currently under Russia control, And in the past few months, Moscow has set up local governments to handle daily administration. 22-year-old Mahsa Amini's death in Iran continues to spark outrage. Thousands marched through Tehran's streets to demonstrate against the government and the morality police. Remember, Amini died on September 16, 3 days after she was hospitalized following her arrest by this morality police, who are responsible for enforcing Iran's strict dress code for women. Iranian authorities have now opened an investigation into her death. Dramatic visuals from Bermuda, where Hurricane Fiona caused heavy rainfall this morning. The center of the storm passed Bermuda with winds nearing 125 miles per hour. The hurricane is now moving towards northwestern Canada, where heavy rainfall and powerful hurricane-force winds are expected to hit Atlantic Canada and eastern Quebec starting early Saturday. An incident of mass stranding occurred in Australia, where over 200 whales were stranded on an exposed beach along the coast of Tasmania. Only around 30 whales were rescued. This is the second mass stranding of whales to have taken place in Tasmania this week, after more than a dozen sperm whales, mostly young males and believed to be part of the same bachelor pod, were found dead on another beach. And finally, we leave you with the big four of men's tennis on the court together, gearing up for the final match of Roger Federer's professional career at the Lever Cup. Remember, FedEx is retiring this weekend, but not before he plays doubles with his longtime rival and friend Rafa Nadal.
Welcome to The Right Stand. I'm Anand Narasimhan. Ladies and gentlemen, we have to thank you. Thank you for your patronage. Thank you for your viewership. Continuously here, you have supported us, and that is why, for trusting CNN News 18, we must thank you. 22 weeks and counting, as we soar higher in the realm of ratings propelled by your continued patronage. This is dominance, and this could not have been possible had it not been for you. Now, over the last 18 months, CNN News 18 has been at the forefront of exposing the PFI and its allied organizations. Over the last 36 hours, Bharat has also witnessed the most comprehensive crackdown ever on an organization. And here on your channel, we have endeavored to cover all the angles that nail the PFI. 9 different exclusives that delineate the workings and machinations of the seemingly benign outfit, which has a very, very sinister motive to change the DNA of Bharat. This is the most comprehensive deep dive that you are tuning into. So stay with us right through over the course of the next 60 minutes. First up, here is a quick recap of these exclusives. 9 different exclusives. Let's go through them one by one. First up, exposing PFI, a comprehensive deep dive.